The morning sun, usually a benevolent golden glow over Veritas City, felt like a spotlight of judgment within the opulent dining hall of the Amari family estate. Hand-carved mahogany, polished to a mirror sheen, reflected the elaborate crystal chandelier overhead, its facets glinting like 1,000 watchful eyes. Ren Amari sat at the far end of the impossibly long table, a solitary figure dwarfed by the grandeur, a forgotten shadow in a room built for titans. He picked at a perfectly sculpted blueberry scone, his movements slow, deliberate, almost apologetic. His hair, usually meticulously maintained in his other life, was slightly disheveled, his clothes a deliberately unremarkable gray sweater and dark trousers that seemed to swallow him whole. He embodied the family's greatest disappointment, the reclusive embarrassment. "Ren, darling, must you always look like you've been dragged out of a dumpster?" The voice, sharp as a freshly honed blade, belonged to Eleanor Amari, the eldest. Her auburn hair was pulled back in a severe, elegant bun, her tailored power suit exuding an authority that belied her 30 years. She ran the Amari Syndicate's legal and financial departments with an iron fist, her ambition a blazing beacon. Next to her, Celeste, the middle sister, offered a saccharine-sweet smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Oh, Eleanor, don't be so harsh. He's probably just tired from all that introspection." "What exactly do you do all day, Ren?" "Count your anxieties." Celeste, a socialite and the face of Amari philanthropy, wielded her charm like a weapon, masking a subtle, biting cruelty. Ren didn't look up, merely stirred his tea. The silence that followed was heavy, punctuated only by the clinking of silverware against fine china. "Leave him be, ladies," a smooth, resonant voice interjected. Kazuki Ryuu, the adopted heir, sat at Eleanor's right hand, radiating an effortless charisma. His dark hair was swept back, his tailored suit impeccable, his smile a practiced masterpiece. "Ren has his unique contributions to the family. Perhaps he's our resident philosopher, contemplating the existential dread of being an Amari." He chuckled, a low, confident sound. The implication was clear. Ren's greatest contribution was his utter irrelevance. Ren felt the familiar sting, a low thrum beneath his ribs, but his expression remained blank. He'd learned long ago that reacting only fueled their scorn. It was part of the act, the pathetic, reclusive shell he inhabited within these walls. The real Ren Amari, Shadowfang, watched, listened, and planned. Lydia, the youngest, a tech prodigy and the syndicate's head of RD, scoffed. "Please, Kazuki. The only philosophy Ren practices is the art of disappearing from responsibilities. We have a major server migration next week, a deal with the Veritas Communications Group that could secure our data infrastructure for decades, and Ren is, what? Ensuring the dust bunnies in his room are adequately fed." Her tone was laced with disdain, dismissive and impatient. A flicker of interest ignited in Ren's eyes, quickly doused. Veritas Communications Group, a major server migration. He filed the information away. He knew, intimately, the vulnerabilities in the Amari Syndicate's network. He'd helped build some of them, and exploit others, in a past life. Kazuki leaned back, a picture of relaxed confidence. "Exactly. And that's where we come in, isn't it, Lydia? To handle the real challenges. Ren, just make sure you don't accidentally trip over any power cords, alright?" His smile, for a fleeting moment, seemed a fraction too wide, a touch too predatory. Ren offered a slight, almost imperceptible nod. He finally met Kazuki's gaze, holding it for a beat longer than was comfortable. He saw the calculation behind the charm, the sharp intelligence that Kazuki so effectively hid beneath his affable facade. He also saw something else, something cold and distant, a hunger that gnawed at the edges of his practiced smile. He finished his tea, the ceramic cool against his fingertips. "If you'll excuse me," he murmured, his voice barely a whisper, "I have some reading to do." Eleanor waved a dismissive hand. "Of course, Ren. Just try not to get lost on your way back to your cave." He rose, pushing in his chair with careful slowness, and walked out of the opulent dining hall, their laughter following him like a physical blow. He didn't falter, didn't quicken his pace. Each step was a testament to his endurance, a performance perfected over years. Once in the labyrinthine corridors leading to his unassuming suite, the mask began to drop. His shoulders relaxed, his jaw unclenched. The air in his room, devoid of their cloying presence, felt cleaner, sharper. He walked over to a hidden panel in his wall, pressing a sequence of almost invisible buttons. A section of the bookshelf slid open, revealing a secure terminal and a suite of advanced communication devices. "Kaido," he muttered into a discreet wrist calm. A crackle, then a gravelly voice, laced with static, responded. "Shadowfang. You're early. They finally drove you out of the mansion, huh?" Kaido, Ren's grizzled ally and former Shadow Network fixer, was one of the few who knew the truth. "They provided intel," Ren replied, ignoring the jibe. "Veritas Communications Group. Server migration. What have you got?" There was a pause, a series of quick keyboard strokes on Kaido's end. The Amari VCG merger. Big money. Big data. My sources picked up chatter about a delivery coinciding with that migration. Something designed to slip past Amari's usual digital safeguards. Codename, Serpent's Kiss. High-grade data siphon, untraceable at first pass. Crimson Hand acquisition, specifically orchestrated by their top tech operative, a ghost named Silas. He's got a nasty reputation for digital infiltration and leaving no trace. Ren's blood ran cold. The Crimson Hand wasn't just a rival organization. They were a cancer, systematically targeting the Amari Syndicate. And Silas, a name whispered with fear even among the Shadow Network's elite, confirmed their malicious intent. Target location? The main off-site data center. Not the estate. Too much physical security. This is a subtle play. They want to get Amari's data without anyone knowing for weeks. Silas is moving in tonight. Estimated window, 0200 to 0300. He's damn good, Ren. You'll be walking into a hornet's nest of advanced countermeasures. He's good, but he's not invisible. Ren's voice was calm, utterly devoid of the meekness he displayed mere moments ago. Send me the schematics for the VCG data center. Entry points, server layouts, security grid. Already on its way. Be careful, kid. This feels different. More coordinated than usual. Like they're testing the waters, seeing how blind the Amarists truly are. Kaido's concern was palpable. They are. Ren terminated the call, his fingers already flying across the holographic keyboard. Schematics bloomed in the air before him, a complex web of conduits, laser grids, and silent alarms. He saw the weaknesses, the vulnerabilities, the phantom paths only a Shadowfang could navigate. He stripped off his gray sweater, revealing a lean, corded physique beneath. Years of brutal training, honed by necessity and vengeance, had forged him into a weapon. He donned his operational suit, a sleek, dark ensemble woven with advanced stealth fibers, equipped with a comprehensive comms array, multi-spectrum vision optics, and retractable bladed gauntlets. Shadowfang's tools were extensions of his will, silent and deadly. Silas. Crimson Hand. A data siphon designed to bleed the Amarists dry. Ren moved with a predatory grace, each motion precise, economical. The image of Kazuki's calculating smile flashed in his mind. This delivery, how much does Kazuki know? Or is he the one pulling the strings, a puppet master unseen? The streets of Veritas City, usually a vibrant tapestry of neon and bustling life, were a different beast at 2 o'clock. Towering skyscrapers pierced the inky sky, their lights creating shimmering constellations. But beneath the glittering surface, shadows stretched long and deep, hiding a world of clandestine operations. Rain moved like a wraith, scaling buildings with impossible ease, navigating alleyways and forgotten service tunnels. His destination, a nondescript building in the city's corporate district, outwardly unremarkable, but housing the VCG's most critical data servers. He bypassed the initial perimeter, a sophisticated laser grid humming with invisible energy, by finding a blind spot known only to those with deep knowledge of VCG's legacy infrastructure, a relic from an older security system that was never fully decommissioned. Inside, the air hummed with the silent thrum of powerful servers. The sterile white corridors were under constant surveillance by motion-activated cameras and pressure plates. Ren moved through them all, a ghost in the machine. He could hear the faint, rhythmic tap of a keyboard from deeper within the facility. Silas. He found him in the main server vault, a man of average build, hunched over a rack of Amari servers, a delicate tangle of fiber optics and micro-devices spilling from his open toolkit. Silas wore a similar dark suit to Ren, though his lacked the integrated tech. A small, almost imperceptible device was already attached to the primary data conduit, its indicator light a malevolent red glow. Ren didn't make a sound. He simply moved. Silas, engrossed in his work, didn't sense him until it was too late. A sharp intake of breath, a flicker of motion from his peripheral vision. He tried to spin, reaching for a hidden blade. Ren was faster. A precise strike to the neck, just beneath the mastoid process. Silas's eyes widened in shock, his hand freezing midair. He collapsed to his knees, gasping, motor control dissolving. Shadowfang, Silas choked out, his voice hoarse, disbelief warring with fear. I thought you were a myth. Ren knelt, his face obscured by the low light, his voice a low growl that seemed to vibrate through the very air. The myths are often the most dangerous. He detached the Serpent's Kiss device, inspecting it. It was even more advanced than Kaido had suggested, a true masterpiece of cyber espionage. Who sent you, Silas? Silas's lips twisted in a grimace of pain and defiance. The Crimson Hand is just getting started, you fool. The Amorous. They're already bleeding. You can't stop. What's coming? He coughed, a rattling sound. Kazuki, he told us you wouldn't be a problem. Ren's blood ran cold again, this time with a surge of white-hot fury. Kazuki. It's always Kazuki. The confirmation, whispered by a dying man, solidified his suspicions. Kazuki Ryuu, Ren repeated, the name a bitter taste on his tongue. He removed a small, specialized data stick from his own kit, plugging it into Silas's comms unit. It would wipe all traces of the Crimson Hand operative's presence, leaving behind only corrupted data logs that would lead security down a rabbit hole of dead ends. Silas would simply vanish without a trace, a ghost whose last words would never reach the ears of his employers. Thank you for the information, Silas. Ren delivered a final, decisive blow, ending the operative's life swiftly and mercifully. No prolonged suffering, just a sudden cessation. It was his code. He meticulously cleaned the scene, removing all evidence, planting false digital breadcrumbs, and even subtly altering the data center's access logs to suggest a minor system glitch rather than an infiltration. By the time he was done, Silas was gone, the data siphon was dismantled, and the Amari Syndicate's crucial merger data was secure, unbeknownst to them. Back in his room, as the first hint of dawn painted the Veritas City skyline, Ren shed his operational gear. The silence of his room was a comfort, a stark contrast to the chaos he had just navigated. He stood by the window, looking out at the waking city, a metropolis unaware of the silent war being waged beneath its glittering surface. He was tired, but not weary. The confirmation of Kazuki's treachery burned like a cold fire in his gut. Silas's last words echoed in his mind. Kazuki, he told us you wouldn't be a problem. Kazuki had dismissed him, underestimated him, just like the rest of his family. And that, Ren realized with a chilling certainty, was Kazuki's greatest mistake. The Crimson Hand was growing bolder, their attacks becoming more precise. And now he had undeniable proof that the snake was coiled within the Amari nest itself. Ren had eliminated a threat, saved the Amorous from a devastating data breach. Yet, his family slept on, oblivious, safe in their gilded cage. But the war had truly begun. And the architect of their downfall was still sipping coffee in their dining hall, charming them all with a smile. The true threat wasn't lurking in the shadows, it was sitting at their table. Ren knew he couldn't stay a myth much longer. He would have to step into the light, even if it meant confronting the very family he sought to protect. The next move was his, and it had to be decisive. The hum of the espresso machine was the loudest thing in the Amari mansion's kitchen, a stark contrast to the usual cacophony of ambition and thinly veiled contempt. Ren, as always, was a silent specter, nursing a lukewarm coffee. He heard the approaching footsteps long before the elegant click of heels announced their arrival. Still hiding in the shadows, Ren? Eleanor Amari's voice was like polished marble, beautiful, cold, and hard. She swept in, her tailored business suit a declaration of power. Don't you have anything productive to do today? Perhaps iron your perpetually wrinkled shirt. Behind her, Celeste, the artist of the family, drifted in, her eyes still hazy from a late night of creative expression. Oh, leave him be, Eleanor. He's probably composing a symphony of self-pity. Give him his space. Lydia, the youngest, arrived last, her fingers already flying across a tablet screen. He's probably just downloading another game, Eleanor. He spends more time in virtual worlds than the real one. She glanced up, a dismissive flick of her dark hair. Honestly, Ren, sometimes I forget you even live here. Ren merely took another sip, the bitter liquid a familiar companion. Their words were dull knives, blunted by years of repetition. They saw only the shell, the pathetic recluse who haunted the periphery of their lives. If they truly knew what he did in the real world, the one they so blithely navigated, their perfectly constructed lives would shatter. Kazuki Ryuu, the favored fake heir, entered then, a dazzling smile already in place. He was a master of presence, effortlessly drawing all attention. Good morning, ladies. Ren, good to see you're up and about. His tone was light, but Ren caught the subtle smirk, the calculated condescension in his eyes. Big day today, Eleanor. That Veritas Tech acquisition is pivotal. Everything hinges on it. Eleanor's posture straightened, a flicker of anxiety in her gaze. Indeed. Their board meeting is this afternoon. I've gone over the data 100 times. You'll be brilliant, Kazuki assured her, his hand resting briefly, intimately, on her arm. Just remember our contingency plans if they push back on the intellectual property clauses. I've run simulations, and my alternative proposals are sound. Ren's fingers tightened almost imperceptibly around his mug. He'd observed Kazuki's alternative proposals over the last few weeks. They were always subtly flawed, designed to introduce vulnerabilities, not strengths. Kazuki was playing a long game, slowly poisoning the Amari Syndicate from within. Later that morning, as the Amari sisters departed for their respective ventures, Ren slipped away, his posture straightening, his eyes sharpening. The world shifted from mundane to lethal. Kaido, he murmured into his earpiece, the device barely visible. A gravelly voice crackled back. Shadowfang. You're early. Got a bad feeling, kid. Eleanor's Veritas Tech acquisition. Kazuki has fed her compromised data. Not enough to fail outright, but enough to create a significant vulnerability if she's pressed. Specifically, regarding the IP rights for their neural net decryption algorithm. Figures, Kaido grunted. The Crimson Hand has been sniffing around that algorithm for weeks. High-level encryption breaker. Amari getting their hands on it would be a major power shift. Crimson Hand won't let that happen quietly. Any intel on their move? Ren asked, navigating the city's dense traffic with practiced ease, his unassuming sedan just another blur in the urban landscape. Just got a ping from one of my birds, Kaido replied. Eleanor's scheduled for a private follow-up meeting after the main board session. Not at the Veritas Tech headquarters, but a discreet location near the old docks, the Azure Star Lounge. Says it's a security precaution, but that place is a known Crimson Hand neutral zone. Sounds like a setup, Shadowfang. They want her isolated. Ren's jaw tightened. Azure Star Lounge. A neutral zone where every wall has eyes and every shadow hides a blade. Standard Crimson Hand ambush location. They'll likely attempt to extract the data directly, or failing that, eliminate her to scuttle the deal and send a message, Kaido speculated. Expect a snatch and grab team, possibly with a designated cleaner to tie up loose ends. Understood, Ren said, already rerouting. Keep me updated. The Azure Star Lounge was an elegant facade, its polished chrome and dark glass reflecting the darkening sky. Inside, it was a labyrinth of private rooms and hidden passages, perfect for discreet negotiations or clandestine operations. Ren positioned himself in a vantage point across the street, his modified binoculars scanning the area. Eleanor's armored sedan pulled up an hour later, 2 Amari security personnel flanking her. Kazuki was not with her. Good. Ren watched as Eleanor entered the lounge. 10 minutes later, a nondescript black van pulled into an alley adjacent to the lounge's rear entrance. 5 figures emerged, moving with trained precision, crimson hand operatives. Ren felt a cold certainty settle in his gut. This wasn't just about data, it was about humiliation and destabilization. He ghosted through the urban sprawl, a ripple in the fabric of Veritas City, making his way to the lounge's less guarded rear. The air grew heavy, charged with anticipation. The Amari security team, he noted, were still at the front, blissfully unaware. Kazuki's subtle hand, diverting their attention, became clearer. Inside, the lounge was quieter than expected. Ren moved through the service corridors, a phantom in the shadows. He heard voices, Eleanor's, sharp with indignation, and a deeper, guttural tone he recognized from Crimson Hand comms. They had her cornered. He found them in a private dining room on the 2nd floor. Eleanor was standing, facing 3 burly operatives. A 4th, sleek and lean, held a data siphoner aimed at her tablet. "The deal is off, Ms. Amari," the lead operative snarled, a Scar-L assault rifle slung across his back. "Give us the data, and you walk out. Refuse, and well, we'll take it, and you won't." Eleanor stood her ground, her face pale but resolute. "You won't get a bite from me. And if you think you can simply walk into an Amari deal and dictate terms, you underestimate us. A sentiment we will disabuse you of, quickly," the operative sneered, gesturing to the man with the siphoner. "Get it done." As the siphoner whirred to life, its red light blinking ominously, Ren moved. He struck like a viper from the shadows behind the man with the rifle. One swift, silent move, a precise strike to the neck, and the operative went down without a sound, his rifle clattering uselessly to the floor. The other 2 operatives spun, startled. Ren was already a blur, a dark shape against the dimly lit room. The 2nd operative charged, a combat knife glinting. Ren sidestepped, his hand a lightning-fast blur, disarming the man and delivering a debilitating blow to his solar plexus. The operative crumpled, gasping for air. The 3rd, seeing his comrades fall, drew a pistol. But before he could even raise it, Ren was upon him. A chokehold, expertly applied, and the man sagged, unconscious. The siphoner wielder, frozen in disbelief, finally looked up, his eyes widening as he saw Ren. He fumbled for a sidearm, but Ren was faster. A precise throw of a small, weighted object, a custom-made impact suppressor, shattered the siphoner's screen and struck the operative's temple, rendering him unconscious. The entire sequence had taken less than 15 seconds. Eleanor stood motionless, her eyes wide, staring at the unconscious bodies littering the floor. She hadn't seen Ren clearly, only a flash of movement, a ripple in the air, a sense of overwhelming, silent power. She felt a prickle of fear, an animal instinct screaming danger, even as the danger was neutralized. Ren, already fading back into the shadows, swept the room for any surveillance, any traces of his presence. He picked up a data chip that had fallen from the siphoner and quickly uploaded its contents to his secure comms. He noticed a small, almost invisible tracking beacon affixed to the underside of Eleanor's tablet, a signature component of Kazuki's custom tech. The chip confirmed it, a direct data bridge to a Crimson Hand server. Kazuki hadn't just fed her compromised data, he'd created a backdoor. As Eleanor finally found her voice, a shaky whisper of, "Who? What was that?" Ren was already out the door, leaving no trace. He was a ghost, a shadow. He regrouped outside, his mind racing. The Crimson Hand attack was more aggressive than anticipated, and Kazuki's involvement was deeper, more insidious. This wasn't just corporate espionage, it was an attempt to dismantle Eleanor's reputation, possibly even her life, and steal Amari intellectual property for Crimson Hand gain. Later that night, Ren sat alone in his darkened room, reviewing the data from the recovered chip. It wasn't just a backdoor. It was a complete blueprint for exploiting the Amari Syndicate's internal network, detailing vulnerabilities that only someone with intimate knowledge, someone like Kazuki, could possibly know. It included a precise schedule of Amari data transfers, financial reports, and even personal schedules of key personnel, including Ren's sisters. He also found a series of encrypted messages. He broke them swiftly. They were communications between Kazuki and a high-ranking Crimson Hand operative, discussing the Veritas Tech acquisition and, chillingly, the elimination of obstacles. Eleanor had been specifically targeted not just for her project, but because she was seen as an obstacle to Kazuki's ultimate goal. A cold rage, unlike anything he usually allowed, simmered beneath Ren's calm exterior. Kazuki wasn't merely undermining the Amorous, he was orchestrating their systematic destruction, piece by agonizing piece, for the Crimson Hand. He was not just an ally to them, but a commander, setting the stage for a total takeover, using the Amari family's own trust against them. Ren scrolled through the detailed plans for the next phase of the Crimson Hand operation, a major financial data breach targeting the Amari's core assets, designed to cripple their liquidity and force a hostile takeover. The date was set for next week, and the internal access codes listed were ones only he had created years ago, after the last major security scare, codes he'd only ever shared with his father, who was now dead. How did Kazuki get them? Ren closed his eyes, the image of Kazuki's charming smile morphing into a predatory grin. The game was escalating. He had to move faster. He had to expose Kazuki, not just as a traitor, but as the architect of their demise, before his family lost everything. The opulence of the Amari estate often felt like a cage, its gilded bars trapping Ren in a performance of feigned uselessness. But tonight, the cage was a launchpad. Clad in the matte black tactical suit of Shadowfang, Ren melted into the moonless Veritas City night, a whisper of movement across rooftops. His target, the Veridian Collective's primary data nexus, a fortress of high-tech corporate espionage nestled beneath a sprawling, seemingly innocuous media conglomerate building. Kaido's voice, a gravelly murmur through Ren's comms, confirmed the intel. Crimson Hand has been using the Collective to funnel Amari data. Kazuki's fingerprints are all over the access logs. This isn't just an alliance, kid. It's a conspiracy. Ren landed silently on the corrugated steel roof, the faint hum of power conduits vibrating beneath his boots. Fingerprints aren't enough, Kaido. I need the blueprint of their operation, something that proves Kazuki isn't just a puppet, but the architect. Careful what you wish for, Shadowfang, Kaido grunted. That boy's got claws sharper than you think. And he's got eyes everywhere. Ren ignored the warning, his focus absolute. He bypassed biometric scanners and motion sensors with practiced ease, a ghost in the machine. The Veridian Collective's headquarters was a labyrinth of server farms and encrypted terminals, glowing screens casting an eerie blue light on empty cubicles. Ren navigated to the central data core, a hardened vault protected by multiple layers of security. Inside, the air hummed with raw data. Ren interfaced his custom device with a main terminal, initiating a silent siphon. He wasn't just looking for proof of Kazuki's involvement, but the deeper mechanics of the Amari Syndicate's dismantling. As lines of code cascaded across his portable interface, a flash of red caught his eye. A secure channel, actively transmitting. Ren's heart tightened. He decrypted the feed, an audio-visual link to a private conference room. 3 figures sat around a holographic table. One was a notoriously elusive leader of the Crimson Hand, his face obscured by shadow, but his voice unmistakable, a predatory growl. The second was the Veridian Collective CEO, a nervous-looking man named Adrian Thorne. And the third, clear as day, was Kazuki Ryuu. He wasn't merely observing, he was leading. The acquisition of Silverlight Industries is critical, Kazuki stated, his usual charming smile replaced by a cold, calculating glint. Eleanor Amari will push for it aggressively. It's a prime target for a hostile takeover. Our inside information on Amari's projected cash flow and debt restructure will allow the Crimson Hand to outbid them at the last moment, or better yet, trigger a financial collapse that makes Amari vulnerable to our direct buyout. The Crimson Hand leader gave a slow, approving nod. Excellent, Kazuki. The Amari family's primary weakness has always been their emotional attachment to their legacy. They won't see the numbers until it's too late. You've been instrumental in creating these vulnerabilities. Of course, Kazuki replied, a chilling satisfaction in his tone. The Amari's internal security is a joke, their leadership complacent. I've ensured the right people are in the right places, feeding me exactly what I need. Eleanor is particularly predictable when she thinks she's winning. Ren felt a cold rage settle deep in his gut. This wasn't just betrayal, it was a methodical, surgical dismantling orchestrated from within. Kazuki wasn't just working with the Crimson Hand, he was their principal strategist against the amorous, exploiting his position as the favored heir. The trauma that had exiled Ren, the real heir, was suddenly clearer, darker. Kazuki wasn't just replacing him, he was erasing the Amari legacy entirely. What about the ghost? Thorne, the collective CEO, ventured, his voice shaky. There have been disruptions. Patched security breaches, thwarted data heists. Someone's been countering our moves. Kazuki scoffed, a dismissive wave of his hand. A minor annoyance. Likely a rogue element, a disgruntled former employee or a competing small-time hacker trying to make a name for themselves. Nothing substantial. My sources confirm Ren Amari is still holed up in his room, playing games. The sisters are too caught up in their own affairs to notice anything beyond their immediate goals. No threat. Ren gritted his teeth, suppressing the urge to send a burst of static through the feed. He was no minor annoyance. He was Shadowfang. And Kazuki's smug dismissal only fueled Ren's resolve. The sheer arrogance was sickening. He finished siphoning the data, securing the irrefutable evidence. He then uploaded a carefully crafted virus, designed not to destroy, but to subtly corrupt and misdirect the Viridian Collective's internal systems, sowing chaos and mistrust among their ranks. It wouldn't stop them immediately, but it would buy the Amari family some precious time, and perhaps lead Kazuki to make a mistake. Exiting the data core, Ren navigated the building's maintenance shafts, the faces of his sisters flashing in his mind. Eleanor, fiercely intelligent but prone to overconfidence. Celeste, compassionate but easily swayed by appearances. Lydia, intuitive but impulsive. They were lambs to the slaughter, blinded by their trust in Kazuki. As Ren prepared to make his final exit, a new alert flashed on his comms. A priority ping from his Amari estate internal network monitor. It was tied to Eleanor. Threat detected. Amari Motors test track. Vehicle anomaly. Ren paused, his blood running cold. Eleanor was at the Amari Motors test track, overseeing the launch of their new prototype electric hypercar. He knew her schedule intimately. A vehicle anomaly? That sounded far too deliberate. He accessed the Amari Motors surveillance feed through his own, separate, secure backdoor. Eleanor, elegant even in a racing suit, was laughing with a team of engineers, preparing to take the prototype for a high-speed run. Kazuki was there too, leaning against a barrier, an easy smile on his face as he watched her. The same smile he used when he spoke of her predictability. Ren quickly analyzed the prototype's telemetry. The primary braking system, a state-of-the-art regenerative ceramic system, showed a subtle, almost imperceptible override code. It wasn't designed to fail completely, but to glitch at maximum velocity, sending the car into a controlled, but catastrophic spin. It would look like an accident, a tragic malfunction, but it was a murder plot. And Kazuki was there to witness it, to offer his condolences and pick up the pieces. Kaido, I need you to establish a secure, untraceable comm link to Eleanor's car's onboard diagnostic system. Now, Ren barked, already moving. What's happening? Kaido's voice was sharp with concern. Kazuki just tried to kill Eleanor, Ron growled, his voice a low, dangerous rumble. He wasn't Shadowfang the Phantom anymore. He was Ren, the brother, consumed by a protective fury. He launched himself from the roof, free-falling for several stories before deploying a silent magnetic grappling hook, swinging across the city with a desperate urgency. He couldn't physically reach the test track in time to stop the car, not without revealing himself fully. He had to disable the override remotely. I'm in. Kaido's voice cut through Ren's tense focus. But it's heavily encrypted. Looks like custom code. This wasn't some random hack, kid. I know, Ren said, his gaze fixed on the distant glow of the Amari Motors complex. Kazuki. I just saw him discuss it. Eleanor was strapping herself in, a confident grin on her face. Kazuki offered her a thumbs up. The engine whined to life, a symphony of electric power. I'm sending you the schematics for a neural override protocol, Ren instructed, pulling up a complex diagram on his wrist-mounted screen. It'll piggyback on the car's self-diagnostic loop. Initiated at my command. He watched, breathless, as Eleanor floored the accelerator. The hypercar rocketed down the track, a blur of silver. Her speed climbed 100 kilometers per hour, 200, 300. Now, Kaido. Execute. Ren yelled, his voice strained. A split second later, just as Eleanor approached the apex of the curve, where the pre-programmed malfunction was set to trigger, Ren saw the tiniest flicker on his telemetry screen. The braking system, for a fraction of a second, wavered. Then, the override code was cleanly excised. The car screamed through the turn, perfectly stable. Eleanor, oblivious, navigated the high-speed curve flawlessly, then brought the prototype to a smooth, controlled stop at the end of the trek. She emerged, exhilarated, to the applause of her team. Kazuki, his smile still in place, applauded too, but his eyes narrowed imperceptibly, a flicker of confusion crossing his face before he masked it. Ren watched from a distant rooftop, his chest heaving, a thin sheen of sweat on his brow. He'd saved her again. But the anger simmered. Kazuki was no longer content with slow, corporate sabotage. He was willing to spill Amari blood. He had the proof now. He had the means. But the danger was escalating, faster than he anticipated. Kazuki had dismissed him as a minor annoyance, but that flicker of confusion in his eyes told a different story. Kazuki was starting to suspect there was more than a rogue element. As Ren turned to disappear back into the night, his comms chimed again, an encrypted message from an unknown source. He opened it, his gaze hardening at the single line of text. You move faster than a phantom, Shadowfang. But even shadows cast a reflection. And reflections can be caught. Ren froze. It wasn't a threat from the Crimson Hand. It was personal. It was a message designed specifically for him. And he knew, with a chilling certainty, who had sent it. Kazuki Ryuu wasn't just countering his moves, he was hunting him. The game had just changed. The sterile hum of Ren's hidden server array was the only sound in the gloom of his sanctum, a stark contrast to the chaotic symphony of Veritas City just beyond his soundproofed walls. On the main monitor, a live feed from the Amari Tower's executive lounge showed Eleanor, poised and sharp, negotiating a complex acquisition. On another, Celeste oversaw a logistics network, her brow furrowed in concentration. And on a third, Lydia, immersed in her tech lab, a tangled mass of wires and holographic projections surrounding her. His sisters, each a vibrant thread in the fabric of the Amari Syndicate, yet utterly oblivious to the predators circling them. Ren ran a hand over his face, the stubble rough beneath his fingers. A cold dread had been coiling in his gut for the past 48 hours. The Crimson Hand, usually clumsy in their initial incursions, had grown unnervingly subtle. Their latest attempts to destabilize Amari assets weren't brute force attacks. They were surgical, almost academic. It suggested a new level of intelligence, a guiding hand that understood the Amari's vulnerabilities intimately. Kaido, Ren murmured into his comm, his voice a low thrum against the backdrop of data. A moment later, Kaido's grizzled voice crackled back, tinged with a rare urgency. Took you long enough, kid? Been trying to raise you. We got a problem. A big one. I feel it, Ren said, his gaze fixed on a complex network graph, nodes blinking red with unusual activity. The Crimson Hand's pattern shifted. They're not just attacking assets. They're probing, searching. For what? For you, Kaido clarified, his voice dropping. Kazuki Ryuu, the snake, he knows. Or at least he suspects. He's been diverting resources, subtle digital footprints, sniffing around for anyone interfering with his Crimson Hand puppets. He hasn't pinned down Shadowfang yet, but he knows there's an internal protector. And he's trying to flush you out. A cold anger, sharp and precise, lanced through Ren. Kazuki. The charlatan, the wolf in sheep's clothing, finally seeing through the veneer of his own carefully constructed chaos. How? He's using their most public face, Kaido explained, a low whistle on his end. Lydia. She's scheduled to unveil that new AI-driven security system at the Veritas Tech Summit tomorrow night. It's a massive media event, high profile, everyone who's anyone will be there. Kazuki pushed for Amari to lead the presentation personally. And my sources say he's got a special surprise planned. Ren's joy tightened. Lydia. His youngest sister, brilliant, but often lost in the abstract world of code, less attuned to the physical dangers of their family's legacy. A perfect, vulnerable target. What kind of surprise? Hard to tell the specifics, but the intel points to a staged sabotage. Something that looks like a technical malfunction, but is designed to cause chaos and, specifically, target Lydia. Not necessarily a kill shot, but enough to create a panic, a diversion. And for you to show your hand, Shadowfang. The pieces clicked into place with chilling clarity. Kazuki wasn't just trying to harm Lydia. He was trying to expose the invisible hand that had been dismantling his plans. He was setting a trap, a public crucible, and the bait was his own supposed family. A deep sigh escaped Ren. His original strategy had been to operate from the shadows, dismantling Kazuki's network piece by piece, gathering irrefutable evidence before a surgical, public exposure. But Kazuki had forced his hand. Protecting Lydia meant stepping into the light, even if just for a moment, risking everything. Get me everything you can on the summit's security protocols, the event layout, and any known Crimson Hand operatives in Veritas City, Ren commanded, his voice devoid of emotion, a cold resolve settling over him. And dig deeper into Kazuki's personal security detail for the event. He'll have someone watching, waiting for me. On it, kid. Be careful. This is a big play, Kaido warned. Ren cut the connection, rising from his chair. The mask of the useless recluse felt heavier than ever. Tomorrow night, it would have to crack. The Veritas Tech Summit glowed like a beacon of innovation in the heart of the city. The grand atrium of the Apex Convention Center was a symphony of polished chrome, holographic displays, and a murmur of elite voices. News crews jostled for position, snapping photos of corporate titans and political figures. Ren, disguised as a nondescript technician, moved through the controlled chaos, his eyes scanning, assessing, every sensor in his body on high alert. He'd arrived hours early, infiltrating the deepest layers of the venue's security. The blueprint Kaido provided, overlaid with Ren's own reconnaissance, painted a grim picture. Kazuki had indeed compromised the Amari's own security. Several security feeds were subtly looped, blind spots strategically placed, and a few event staff carried the telltale microtransmitters of Crimson Hand operatives. Lydia was on stage, poised and elegant in a sleek midnight blue dress, her vibrant red hair a striking contrast to the minimalist set. She was presenting the Aegis Protocol, an advanced AI security system designed to predict and neutralize threats in real time. The irony was palpable. Kazuki stood beside her, radiating charm and confidence, a hand resting casually on the small of her back as she spoke. He looked every inch the protective older brother, the capable heir. Ren watched him through the scope of a discreet observation device, noticing the subtle tensing in Kazuki's jaw, the slight dart of his eyes that gave away his underlying tension. He was waiting. And with the Aegis Protocol, Lydia's voice resonated clearly through the hall. Amari Industries promises a new era of proactive defense, capable of identifying and mitigating threats before they even manifest. As she spoke, a brilliant holographic globe rotated above her, displaying a simulated city grid, data streams flowing like veins of light. The demonstration began flawlessly. The Aegis AI successfully neutralized a series of simulated cyber attacks and physical incursions. The crowd murmured in appreciation. Then Ren felt it. A faint electromagnetic pulse, barely perceptible to the average person, rippled through the air. It wasn't part of the demo. On the holographic globe, the data streams flickered, turning an angry red. The simulated threats, previously neutralized, reappeared, multiplying at an alarming rate. The Aegis Protocol's voice, a calm synthetic tone, stammered, then glitched. Lydia, a flicker of confusion crossing her face, tried to input override commands. "There's an unforeseen anomaly," she announced, attempting to maintain her composure. Kazuki, ever the smooth operator, leaned in, feigning concern. "Perhaps a minor bug, Lydia? These things happen with cutting-edge tech." But Ren saw the faint, almost imperceptible smirk playing on Kazuki's lips. This wasn't a bug. This was the trigger. Suddenly, the overhead lighting began to strobe erratically, casting chaotic shadows across the hall. A high-pitched whine emanated from the massive speakers, quickly escalating into a deafening shriek that made attendees wince and cover their ears. Panic began to ripple through the crowd. Then, from the ceiling above the stage, a series of maintenance panels swung open. Not with a clean, programmed motion, but with a violent jolt. Attached to the underside of each panel were miniature, drone-like devices designed for automated cleaning. But now their optical sensors glowed a malevolent red. They detached, not falling but moving with unnatural speed, converging on Lydia's position on the stage. There were a dozen of them, small and sleek, armed with retractable blades designed for cutting through ducts and wiring. In this context, they were lethal. "Security!" Kazuki yelled, his voice projecting over the din, theatrically pulling Lydia back a step. His eyes, however, were not on the drones. They were scanning the hall, searching for a reaction, for the flicker of motion that would betray Shadowfang. Ren had no more time. The drones were seconds away from tearing into Lydia. His carefully constructed wall of anonymity, the protection he'd built around his pathetic persona, had to crumble. He moved. He launched himself from his inconspicuous perch in the technical booth, a black blur against the flashing lights. He covered the distance to the stage in a series of impossible, silent bounds, moving with a grace that defied human capability. The first drone reached Lydia, its blades whirring. Kazuki pushed her, feigning a heroic save, but the drone shifted trajectory, still aiming for her. Before its blades could connect, Ren was there. A flash of silver, a precisely thrown throwing knife, not at the drone, but at a crucial joint in its arm. The drone spun wildly, crashing into another, sending sparks flying. He landed on stage, a silent, dark presence. He didn't wear his full Shadowfang gear, too conspicuous. But the lean, powerful physique, the precise movements, the almost supernatural speed, they were unmistakable. Two more drones converged. Ren moved between them, a ghost in the chaos. He disarmed one with a sharp, brutal kick, sending it careening into the projector screen. He caught the other out of the air, ripping its power source out with a practiced twist of his wrist. Lydia, wide-eyed and terrified, stumbled back, bumping into him. She looked up, her gaze meeting his for a fleeting second. In the chaos of strobing lights and deafening sirens, she saw a pair of intense, familiar gray eyes, filled with a raw, protective fury she'd never witnessed before. The eyes of Ren Amari, but imbued with a strength, a lethal competence that was utterly alien. He didn't speak. He simply pushed her firmly behind him, then pivoted, facing the remaining drones. His hands were a blur, catching, deflecting, disabling, dismantling. It wasn't brute force. It was fluid, precise, and utterly ruthless. The blades on the drones barely grazed him as he moved with preternatural agility, disarming each one, not destroying them completely, but rendering them inert, proof of the sabotage still intact. The last drone, larger and faster, made a desperate lunge. Ren met it with a devastating elbow strike, shattering its casing. It fell to the stage with a clatter of components. Silence. The strobing lights died, the siren shriek faded. The hall was left in a stunned, disorientated quiet, save for the gasps of the crowd. Ren stood over the inert drones, a sentinel of dark power. His back was to the audience, but his presence dominated the stage. He glanced back at Lydia, a quick, assessing look, ensuring she was unharmed. Then he moved. Not with the frantic haste of someone trying to escape, but with the quiet efficiency of a shadow retreating. He vaulted over the side of the stage, disappearing into the lingering smoke and confusion. Lydia watched him go, her mind reeling. The face, the eyes, it was impossible. Ren, her useless, reclusive brother, moving like a phantom, saving her with such terrifying skill? The image warred with everything she thought she knew. Kazuki stepped forward, quickly closing the distance to Lydia, his hand on her arm. He played the concerned hero once more. "Lydia, are you all right? That was incredible. Who is that?" He looked out into the hall, a theatrical sweep of his gaze. His eyes, however, landed for a brief, triumphant moment on a specific corner of the stage where Ren had briefly been visible, a predatory gleam in their depths. He knew. The trap had sprung and Ren had taken the bait. And now, the hunt for Shadowfang was no longer a theoretical exercise. It was personal. Somewhere in the chaotic aftermath, Ren, now just another face in the evacuating crowd, felt the adrenaline slowly recede. He had saved Lydia. But he had also walked into Kazuki's snare. His sisters might be safe for now, but the line between Ren Amari and Shadowfang had blurred irrevocably. The game had changed, and he was no longer playing from the shadows. The polished floors of the Amari Grand Atrium gleamed under the chandeliers, reflecting 100 nervous faces. Tonight was the annual Founders Gala, a tradition meant to celebrate the Syndicate's legacy, but which, this year, felt more like a wake. Whispers of lost contracts, compromised data, and internal strife slithered through the silk and tailored suits like unseen snakes. Eleanor, sharp and analytical, clutched a glass of champagne, her eyes scanning the room for signs of trouble. Celeste, ever the socialite, maintained a strained smile, her usual vivacity dimmed by worry. Lydia, usually detached, watched the interactions with an unnerving intensity, her gaze often drifting to Kazuki Ryuu. Kazuki, impeccably dressed, moved through the crowd with the effortless charm of a predator. He had orchestrated a hostile takeover of the Amari board, leveraging the recent corporate hemorrhages, all his own doing, to seize effective control. Tonight, he planned to announce a sweeping restructuring, effectively dismantling the core Amari framework and rebuilding it in his own image, serving his Crimson Hand masters. He caught Ren's eye from across the room, a flicker of smug triumph in his gaze. Ren, standing in a quiet corner near a potted palm, looked as out of place and insignificant as always. His ill-fitting suit was rumpled, his hair slightly disheveled. He seemed to shrink further into the shadows, a pathetic, almost invisible presence. Perfect, Kazuki thought, turning back to accept the congratulations of a sympathetic board member. Tonight, the last vestige of the Amari legacy dies, and the Weakling sun will watch. But Ren wasn't shrinking. Beneath the surface, the intricate clockwork of his mind spun with lethal precision. Kaido's last intel drop, a secured data chip, was nestled in his palm. It contained every shred of evidence, encrypted communications, financial transactions, illicit dealings, even a recorded confession from a captured Crimson Hand operative, linking Kazuki directly to the organization and the systematic destruction of the Amari Syndicate. The trap Ren had sprung in the previous confrontation had been a calculated risk, forcing Kazuki to expose a critical vulnerability, and now, Ren was ready to yank the rug out from under him. The heavy oak doors to the main presentation hall swung open, and a hush fell over the crowd. Kazuki, accompanied by a retinue of his newly appointed advisors, all Crimson Hand plants, Ren knew, strode to the podium, a charismatic smile plastered on his face. He tapped the microphone. "Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, family," he began, his voice smooth as silk. "Tonight marks a new chapter for the Amari Syndicate. A chapter of renewed strength, focused vision, and decisive leadership." He paused, letting his words hang in the air, a silent challenge to anyone who dared to question him. Eleanor's joy tightened. Celeste looked down at her hands. Lydia's eyes, however, were fixed on Ren. She had seen something in his eyes after the last incident, a brief flash of something utterly alien to the useless brother. For too long, Kazuki continued, his tone shifting to one of solemn concern. This venerable institution has been plagued by internal weaknesses, by a lack of foresight, and, dare I say, by complacency. We have weathered storms, yes, but at great cost. It is time for radical change. It is time for a purge. His gaze swept over the Amari sisters, a veiled threat in his words. As he reached for the remote to display his presentation, a sudden, jarring sound echoed through the hall. It wasn't loud, but it cut through the opulent silence like a blade. A single, distinct clink as something metallic hit the polished marble floor, rolling to a stop directly at Kazuki's feet. Everyone looked. It was a data chip, small and innocuous. Kazuki frowned, bending down to pick it up. As his fingers closed around it, the grand display screen behind him, meant for his presentation, flickered. Then, instead of his meticulously prepared slides, a torrent of data filled the screen. Complex network diagrams, encrypted message logs, offshore bank transfers, and then a series of faces. The Crimson Hand operatives Ren had systematically dismantled over the past weeks. A gasp rippled through the hall. Kazuki froze, his face losing its practiced charm. He spun to look at the technician booth, but the young man there merely stared, bewildered, at his console. "What is this?" Kazuki roared, his voice cracking, the facade crumbling. Before he could demand an answer, another image flashed on the screen, a grainy, time-stamped video feed. It showed Kazuki, not in the Amari estate, but in a dimly lit, high-tech bunker, seated across from a scarred man with the distinctive red-stained hand tattoo of the Crimson Hand. Kazuki was laughing, a cruel, triumphant sound, as he discussed the latest Amari assets to be compromised. "And the old man's legacy," Kazuki sneered in the video, his voice amplified through the speakers, "will be mine. The sisters are too blind, too proud. And Ren, the pathetic, reclusive brother, he's utterly useless. A non-factor. By the time they realize what's happening, it'll be too late. The Amoress will be nothing but a footnote in the Crimson Hand's rise." The words struck the Amari sisters like physical blows. Eleanor gasped, her face draining of color as she stared at the screen, her analytical mind struggling to process the blatant treachery. Celeste let out a choked cry, her hand flying to her mouth. Lydia, however, remained unnervingly still, her eyes now locked on Ren. She had seen him earlier, near the technician booth, for just a fleeting moment before he melted back into the shadows. Kazuki was frantic now. He lunged for the podium, shouting at the technicians to cut the feed, but it was useless. The video continued, showing more damning evidence, Kazuki forging documents, accepting large sums of money, even giving orders to Crimson Hand enforcers. Each revelation chipped away at his carefully constructed image, exposing him as the manipulative betrayer he was. Then, the final clip played. It was a conversation between Kazuki and the Crimson Hand leader, discussing a final phase for tonight. "The sisters will be neutralized," Kazuki stated, a chilling calm in his voice. "The last of the old guard eradicated. Tonight, the Amari name dies, and the Crimson Hand will claim Veritas City." Chaos erupted. Gasps, shouts, and furious whispers filled the hall. Several board members, their faces pale with shock and fear, began to back away from Kazuki. Eleanor, pale but resolute, took a step forward. "Kazuki, what is the meaning of this?" she demanded, her voice trembling with barely controlled fury. Kazuki snarled, his eyes darting around the room, searching for an escape, for a way to silence the evidence. His gaze landed on Ren, still in his corner, now watching him with an expressionless face that belied the burning intensity in his eyes. "You!" Kazuki shrieked, pointing a trembling finger at Ren. "This is your doing, you worthless trash. You think you can sabotage me? I'll crush you. I'll crush all of you." With a guttural roar, Kazuki lunged, not for an exit, but straight for Ren, a hidden blade flashing in his hand. He was no fool. He knew this display had a source, and Ren, though seemingly weak, was somehow involved. He moved with a speed and desperation that belied his earlier composure, aiming for Ren's throat. The Amari sisters screamed. Guards in the room, loyal to Kazuki, moved to intercept, but they were too slow. Ren, however, was not. It was a blur. One moment, Ren was a static, unassuming figure. The next, he was a coiled spring. He didn't move away. He moved into Kazuki's attack. His movements were fluid, precise, economical. He sidestepped the blade with a fraction of an inch to spare, a whisper of wind on his cheek. His hand shot out, not in a clumsy flail, but with surgical precision, intercepting Kazuki's wrist, twisting and disarming him with a sickening crack. The blade skittered across the floor. Kazuki screamed, more in shock than pain. Ren didn't stop there. He followed through with a quick, brutal sweep kick that took Kazuki's legs out from under him. The fake Heir crashed to the ground, winded. Before he could recover, Ren had him by the collar, slamming him against the marble pillar with a surprising force that sent a shiver down the spines of those watching. Ren's face was utterly calm, utterly devoid of the fear or weakness they were so accustomed to seeing. His eyes, usually dull and averted, now burned with an intensity that promised death. It was the gaze of a hunter, cold and unwavering. "You said I was a non-factor." Ren's voice was a low growl, devoid of his usual mumble, each word sharp as flint. "You were wrong." He pulled Kazuki's face close, his grip like iron. "The Amari Syndicate belongs to the Amari family. And you are nothing." He then released Kazuki with a shove, sending him sprawling again. Kazuki's personal guards, finally recovering from their shock, lunged forward, but Ren was already moving. He moved with a grace and speed that was breathtaking, a silent blur among the chaos. He didn't kill, he disarmed, disabled, disoriented. Each movement was calculated, precise, a testament to years of brutal, unforgiving training. His sisters watched, mouths agape, as Ren, the brother they had dismissed as useless, neutralized 4 armed men in less than 10 seconds, leaving them groaning on the floor, their weapons scattered. The entire atrium was silent, save for the ragged breathing of the defeated guards and Kazuki's whimpers. All eyes were on Ren. The weak, pathetic recluse now stood amidst the wreckage, his chest heaving slightly, but his gaze still sharp, surveying the room. Eleanor, her initial shock giving way to a dawning horror and a strange, unfamiliar pride, was the first to speak. "Ren." "What? Who?" Celeste stared, tears welling in her eyes, not of sadness, but of utter bewilderment and a fragile hope. "Ren, you saved us." Lydia, however, was quiet. She looked at Ren, her expression unreadable. She had suspected a hidden depth, but this was an abyss. The pieces of the puzzle, the sudden disappearances of threats, the strange sense of protection she sometimes felt, the brief, unsettling glint in his eyes, all clicked into place, forming a terrifying, magnificent image. She didn't see a recluse. She saw a phantom. Ren turned slowly, his intense gaze sweeping over his sisters, then the stunned crowd. For a moment, the mask of Shadowfang almost slipped, revealing a flicker of vulnerability, of hope, of the boy who just wanted to protect his family. But it was quickly replaced by a hardened resolve. He didn't offer an explanation, not yet. He merely gestured towards the still recovering Kazuki, who lay whimpering on the floor, surrounded by his unconscious men. "He is yours," Ren said, his voice calmer now, but still carrying an undeniable weight of authority. "The Crimson Hand's pawn, and a betrayer of the Amari name." His eyes met Eleanor's, a silent challenge passing between them. He had exposed the truth, saved them from the brink, and protected their legacy. Now it was up to them to pick up the pieces. He had stepped out of the shadows, even if only partially, and the world of the Amari Syndicate would never be the same. The immediate threat was contained, but the war was far from over. The Crimson Hand was a hydra, and Kazuki was but one head. Ren had shown his strength, but in doing so, he had invited a new level of scrutiny, both from his family and from the unseen forces that now knew Shadowfang was willing to break cover for the Amorous. He had made his move. The game had truly begun.